This video is looking at an installation of the Auto-Vox V5 Pro in a 2006 Chevy Cobalt LS. As you can tell here, after I got this installed, it's a really great LCD rear view camera. And the rear view camera has a built-in dash cam and a backup camera. So lots of capabilities here. The first thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and remove your rear view mirror. The rear view mirror has a screw that just needs to be removed, and that just slides off once you go ahead and remove that screw. The good news is that this Auto-Vox rear view camera has a bunch of adapters, but you don't need one. In this car, right out of the box, it fits in perfectly, and you'll go ahead and torque that up right there. What I did too is you want to run the cables from the side A-pillar there. I went ahead and ran it up along the front and am removing the A-pillar to go ahead and get some nice clear access to run a cable around the front window of the car. Removing the A-pillar is super easy. It's literally one screw and about 4 pulleys, and you'll want to just run that all around there. What I found the best way to do is to do the cable from the bottom up. So go here from the ground. You'll want to grab the whole unit with the cable pieces and the connections to the GPS, and you'll really want to go ahead and get that whole connection from the bottom all the way to the top. That way you don't have to pull through that whole larger configuration. So I just ran it underneath the glove box, and then that will go ahead and bring it along to the side next to your door. That's going to go ahead and expose it right there. You'll push it through that area there. The hardest part here is really just kind of getting the small little piece that is going to go ahead and slide up kind of behind that vent that's there. And right up at the top by the smaller, I think that's is that a tweeter or a vent? I think it's another vent. But what you want to do is just kind of push that through there, and that gets you up to the A-pillar, and then you can feed it along the A-pillar all through your dash. And this makes for a really nice kind of clean install here. And I don't see the cable at all actually when I'm driving. The only bit of wire that you have for the rear view camera and rear view mirror is just going to be a small little wire that's kind of tucked up in the beginning. You'll also want to run the GPS unit as well before you put the A-pillar back on. The GPS unit is kind of its own little piece, and you'll just run the wiring through all that. And that one, you could just kind of run down along from the top to the bottom, and it plugs right into that larger set of wires that has all your connectors there, and just firmly plug that in. I wrapped some electrical tape around all those too, just to make sure anything would kind of stay together. Next thing we want to do is start looking at how we want to run the backup camera. So I removed the back seats, super easy process to go ahead and do that. Remove some of the plastic trim pieces in the center console as well. This gives you a nice, clean, easy way to go ahead and run that backup camera wire all the way back to the front of the car. So again, it's much easier kind of bringing through the camera wire than it is to push the camera through all of this. So you kind of want to go back to front when you run these wires. This is how you remove the seats, just some metal pieces there. You just kind of slide out. Super easy. You'll kind of get it real quick once you pull it out. And the carpet just pulls right back too. So the carpet's, it's just a super thin layer. There's nothing really difficult to do on the Cobalt. Everything's really easy to get to. And I just found it was simple just to go ahead and kind of push the wire through, put it in a loop fashion. You'll see it kind of come through there. And then you could basically run that wire all along the dash interior trim pieces and bring it out over by the cup holders here. And that gives you an option to go ahead and connect that for the backup camera pieces. So now you have backup camera, you have your GPS. The next thing you want to do is do the ground wire. I went ahead and did a ground wire right there. That's not the place to go. When I connected everything else, it was not grounded correctly. So I moved the grounded wire to that bolt right there. And that actually is a better grounding because we have a good backing in it. So I connected the grounding wire there, and that actually gave me the power that I needed. The earlier one did not, so don't use that earlier piece. And the fuse taps are super easy. I just put them in 2 areas there. I'll list it in the descriptions of the 2 spots that I put in so you know where they're at. Again, this is the backup camera area. So the backup camera, you got all your wiring there for the backup camera. You just kind of push it through the back of the seat. So that red wire is the one that you're going to tap into the rear view light. And tapping that in is pretty easy. I just use the fuse tap for it. It's a nice way to go ahead and kind of get that connection there. I connected the green wire. There's a black wire and a green wire for that rear view camera. That little part just snaps out there. And like I said, you can go ahead and just kind of tap into the green wire and then run the red cable through a fuse tap. When I ran that red wire down along the plastic housing, that's the whole connector that you'll connect to the camera unit itself. The camera has its own separation there. So what I did is I went ahead and removed these clips. You can buy these clips on Amazon. I'm going to provide the link in the description, but you just bring those back in. You could tie it up. It's just a simple twisty tie. It pops right into the hood, or sorry, the trunk metal. And then we have the backup camera. I wanted to kind of test it first, make sure everything's running on it. You just remove some of this cover here, and you already ran down the red wire and the black wire from that piece that connects to the reverse light. And you're just going to go ahead and connect the last piece, which is just the camera itself, which fits right into the rest of it. Now you do need to do a drill of a hole. I did one drill initially that was too low, and so I did a kind of a higher one a second time. So I drilled 2 holes, but you know, it's going to cover anyway. So what you're essentially doing, there's some back plastic in there. I use a 3/8 of an inch metal drill bit, and I just feed that wire through the trunk to go ahead and get it through that back piece. Now it's a little tight in there. My finger's a little bigger, so I kind of cut my knuckles a little bit too while doing this. And even though I didn't thread it through that where I drilled, what I had to do is I had to drill through some additional kind of hard plastic that is in between the back of the car and the inside of the trunk metal. So once you're kind of feeling around in there, you'll want to position your camera where you want. You'll want to, like I said, run that there. And then it came out this other side over here, which is already kind of part of the car. I wish I could just run it through there. You can't do it just a run straight through there. You have to kind of drill into what's ever kind of blocking some of that middle piece there. Because there's something in between the back and this piece here with the trunk. So probably not going to be able to avoid drilling into it. And it's okay because this piece here clips right over all of it. So it kind of cleans it up. Don't be scared of drilling into your car. I did it one time with the BMW Z3 to install a windscreen, and that was way more nerve-wracking because that was physically on the outside of the car where I had to drill pieces. This at least is in the trunk, so much easier here. And I was able to kind of cover everything up. And then you just kind of put all that felt fabric piece back in there. That kind of pops out because it's GM. It's kind of a little bit chintzy, low quality, but that's all right. It's fine. You got what you wanted. And honestly, it looks extremely OEM. Everything's covered, hidden. It looks really nice. And I don't feel like, you know, I had anything that was off on it. And so make sure you press all that stuff down there with the plastic. You use the holder for the backup camera that is for the license plate, which is a thicker one, and you'll be good to go. So everything is all hooked up here. I've put back all of the pieces down by the floor, so everything is running through the wires there, and I kind of just taped them to some of the existing wires that were down there, so that way it doesn't get into the footwell, and you're golden. You have a camera that works, and it's really a fantastic device. I really like how this whole thing came out, and as you can tell, everything is clean as can be, and all I really have is just that one little wire right above the rearview mirror. That's the only wire that you really see exposed. So enjoy. Like I said, I can't be any happier with this product and some of the capabilities. There's some other videos out there that could walk you through all of the features, so search those up. There was one guy that did some really great review on it. I'll try to leave his link in my description too, but he kind of walked you through all the different settings, kind of, you know, here's a front and back camera view. You saw earlier some of the backup camera view when you put the car into reverse with those red and yellow lines. And here's a simple front view, but that little button there with the arrows kind of switches your different displays, and it's really crisp and clean. So enjoy the camera. I think you'll love it, and have a great time in your Cobalt.